Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Today, we're going to tell you our materials of the presentation. The title is Stanza Form in Poem. It presented by Group 5 Introduction to Literature. To shorten time, let me tell you the discussion. So, our material is about the introduction, definition, purpose, types, difference between formal and free of stanza form in poems. So, we're going to tell you the discussion of the introduction. In poetry, the stanza is used to describe the main building block of a poem. It is a unit of poetry composed of lines that relate to a similar thought or topic like a paragraph in prose or a verse in a song. Every stanza in a poem has it, its own concept and serves a unique purpose. A stanza may be arranged according to rhyming patterns and meters the syllabic beats of a line. It can also be a free-flowing verse that has no formal structure. Okay, we're going to tell you about what is a stanza in poetry. A stanza is a series of lines grouped together in order to divide a poem. The structure of a stanza is often, though not always, repeated throughout the poem. Stanzas are separate from other stanzas by line breaks. Each stanza is a standalone unit that can either make up an entire poem or can build a bigger poem with other stanzas. Next, will be explained by our partner Raisa Munika Restiani.
Sorry guys, the next discussion will be explained by me, Rifhatul Karomah. Okay, what purpose do stanzas serve in poetry? In Italian, the word stanza means room. Stanzas then function in a poem like rooms function in a house. Acclaimed poet and former US Poet Laureate Billy Collins says, "You're taking the reader on a tour of the poem, room by room, like talking someone through your house and describing it." In this way, stanzas can be particularly revealing. The structure of a poem stanzas says a lot about the poem, just as the rooms in a house say a lot about the house. A stanza can reveal the following about a poem. The first is structure. A poem always has a structural framework in place. Stanzas are part of a poem's architecture. The second is pattern, informal verse poetry in which the poem follows a rhyme scheme and meter. The first stanza sets the pattern for the overall poem. The rhyme and rhythm used will repeat in the second stanza and so on. The third is organization. Often the lines of a stanza explore a thought as the poet moves on to the next thought. They may progress to a new stanza. The fourth is set a mood. A break in between stanzas may signal a shift in mood or emotional tone. And the last is shape. The space around and between stanzas or lack thereof and the pattern they create on the page defines the shape of a poem. What are the different types of stanza? Stanzas, like poems, come in all shapes and sizes. There are many different types and they are often classified by meters, rhyme, schemes, or how many groups of lines they have. Here are some different types of stanzas. The first is monastic. A one-line stanza. Monastic can also be an entire poem. The second is couplet, a stanza with two lines that rhyme. The third is tercet, a stanza with three lines that either all rhyme or the first and the third line rhyme, which is called an ABA rhyming pattern, a poem made up of tercet and concludes with a couplet is called a terza rima. The fourth is quatrain, a stanza with four lines with the second and fourth lines rhyming. Quatrain. The fifth is quatrain, a stanza with five lines. The sixth is sestet, a stanza with six lines. And the last is septet, a stanza with seven lines. This is sometimes called a rhyme royal. What are the different types of stanza? Octave, a stanza with 8 lines written in lembic pentameter or 10-syllable beat per line. The more lines a stanza has, the more varieties of rhyme and meter patterns. For example, ottava rima is an 8-line stanza with the specific rhyme schemes in which the first 6 lines have an alternating rhyme pattern and a couplet as the final 2 lines. The next is isometric stanza. Isometric stanzas have the same syllabic beats or the same meter in every line. And then heterometric stanza, a stanza in which every line is a different length. Next is Spenserian stanza, named after Edward Spencer's unique stanza structure in his poem, The Faerie Queenie. A Spenserian stanza has 9 lines, 8 in lembic pentameter, 10 syllables in a line with emphasis on the second beat of each syllable, and a final line in iambic hexameter, a 12-syllable beat line. And ballad stanza, often used in folk song. A ballad stanza is a rhyming quatrain with 4 emphasized beats, 8 syllables, in the first and third lines, and 3 emphasized beats or 6 syllables in the second and fourth lines. Okay, next discussion will be explained by Raisa, Munika, Restiani.
Okay, how is the difference of formal and free verse in poetry? Will there are any number of ways that poet can use stanza to tell a story? The two bird of voices are formal verse and free verse. Formal verse is poetry that follow a strict repeating pattern like sonnet or limerick. Stanza in formal verse will have a matching meter and rhyme scheme. In free verse, poetry does not follow a strict rhyme or meter. Stanza of different type can be used within a poem. Formal verse. Robert Frost was an advocate for structure in poetry and famously said that poetry in free verse was like flying tennis without a net. William Such verse sonnet are a classic example of how stanzas are used in formal verse. For the last material, free verse, Walt Whitman was the pioneer of free verse using different kinds stanza or varying line like. That's all our material of presentation today. Thank you for your watching this video. Hope you can understand our explanation on this material. Keep healthy and be happy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.